What's up?
Hello?
Yes,
There's nothing up.
I sent you an email. I'll send you the link on Messenger. One second. Just hold on, hold on. That's why I wanted you to be on earlier. We gotta get this stuff done.
My,
No, I'm sending you the link right now. Just it's on your Messenger.
alright.
I'm live right now, so come on in.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go onto my laptop, okay?
Yeah, let's see your. All right,
Join me on the thing, but I will transfer to my laptop.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. Testing one. Welcome, friends, to Amir Shakur Speaks with your host, Amir King 7 Shakur. That's me. Today we're talking about international things with our long-term friend and associate of the show, Satish Sekar. He is a globally renowned specialist, and I want to tell you a little bit about him, and we're going to bring him on real soon for a very candid, very deliberate conversation in reference to what's going on overseas. We'll talk about some current events, including going back from ancient period to today, and we're talking about medicine. We're talking about a lot of things. A lot of things. We've had an ongoing conversation about Egyptian travel, and we do have a project announcement coming up in Egypt. So I want to talk a little bit about that. In essence, I'd just like to welcome you to Amir Shakur Speaks, which brings the best of news, information, faith, and politics, all done from an inspirational perspective. And if you have not done so, please like and share. Tonight's show is sponsored by the Chicago Urban Daily once again. And remember, your voice matters. Let's stand up and speak out. Just starting February, last week of February, I should say, we're starting an innovative project, which is with LinkedIn, and the project is going to be on SoundCloud, LinkedIn, and Facebook in the global online community. And this project is just going to be to empower people, to unlock individuals who want to unlock the potential and thrive in a digital landscape. It's learning how to become a global influencer. And this project is a program that will have also personalized training and consultation for individuals, businesses, alongside folks who just are interested in the subject matter. So if you want to be a part of that, please feel free to get together with me about it. All right. So let's go. While we're here, but before we do that, before I introduce my special guest, I'd like to talk about our own series with Black History Month, and that is to honor the celebration honoring visionaries, African American culture, luminaries, including those in industry, science, and economics, and politics as well. Let's not forget politics, social justice as well. So let's look a little and so the Black History Month program, this particular Black History, we're going to be honoring a gentleman who some of you know very well, some of you don't, but it's going to be W.E.B. Du Bois, who rose to national prominence as a leader of the Niagara Movement, a group of Black civil rights activists seeking equal rights. Du Bois and his supporters opposed the Atlanta Compromise instead. Du Bois insisted on full civil rights and increased political representation, which he believed to be brought by the African American intellectual elite. Basically, he was someone who really represented the underdog in a time and age where he was coming up in the time frame. There was no NAACP, so he was actually one of the original founders of the NAACP in 1909, and he used his position in the NAACP to respond to racist incidents. I am going to I'm going to suggest that if you don't know enough about W.E.B. Du Bois, please feel free to talk about him and look him up. He's very, very much very, very influential person in Black African American history. So again, this month, all throughout the month to the end of February, we're honoring those in Black history, right? So thank you for listening. And hey, if you're joining our show, this particular show is in reference to we're catching up with our international renowned forensic specialist, friend of the show, and fellow journalist of mine who sometimes, the guy's he's something else. He is something else. Mr. Satish Sekar. And you know what? We all get his name. And listen, I've known this man for over 20 years, and I still think I don't even pronounce his name right. He might beat me up later on down the line, but he's going to have to reach me out. He came out to Chicago one time, and we did an escapade, Esperanza, and it was very interesting. Did a couple of radio and TV tours, and it's good that he's over across the pond. I'll just drop the mic right there. And you know what? You're backstage, so basically You can't say much of anything. How are you today, sir?
Okay-ish, but got a bit of a cough, unfortunately.
Oh my God! Is that how you're doing with what's going on with the red hood thing that's going on up there? What's up with that?
It's a Moroccan thing,
Oh, okay.
like a coat with a hood, so it
Okay.
does the job
It's a
perfectly.
little scary, like I'm expecting you to break out and do Gregorian chants at any minute now or something like that.
Nah. It basically covers the head, so it hopefully stops me coughing too much.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I won't beat up on you too bad. I won't beat up on you too bad today. You know how I am. But, if you're just joining us, guys, our discussion today is based upon Satish's recent project discussing his ongoing initiatives in Egypt, which is a long-term discussion of ours. But the specific project that he's endeavoring in is about how we're dealing with ancient medicine and its influence up into current period. And there's an ongoing debate, but this is a very interesting topic, so we had to get to the bottom of this. So you know what, but I really want to make sure that we give you the proper introduction. So while you're there, just give me a second and then I'll let you introduce yourself in the project, but let me do it from my global standpoint because I can introduce you a lot better than you can introduce yourself. Okay,
You can try.
Satish Sekar is a British author and journalist, a consultant in forensic evidence. He has specialized since the 19th, including the Guardian, the Independent, and the Private Eye. The Private Eye is not a globally known trade. I don't even know if it's around anymore. You can correct me if it is, but
It is.
we definitely. Okay, so we know about the Guardian and Independent from across the pond, but he's also worked in documentary series, including things for the BBC, also the Paranormal and Trial and Error. So he was educated at Reynolds High School, and if you don't know where that is, you're not going to know because you don't live in the UK, right? So there it is. Now the University of Greenwich. He studied sociology. He is he's one interesting person, and I tell you what, he's definitely been an influence on forensic science. In 1992, he helped overturn the convictions of the Carter Three while researching. He actually wrote a book called The Fitted In Project, Fitted In the Carter Three and the Lynette White Inquiry. Let me get that correct. All right. And then later on, which became the birth, correct me if I'm wrong, of the Fitted In Project. Am I right? Am I right or wrong?
It was.
Okay. All right, see, I know you too well. He uncovered errors in the original evolution of forensic evidence from a crime scene, and I mean, this work was globally renowned. So don't let the aesthetic fool you guys. He's definitely a globally renowned specialist here, and I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be back on your show.
Thank you so much. All right. So if you're just joining us, and thank you for those out there in the World Wide Web, we're talking about the Egyptian project that we have coming up. We're talking about global ancient medicine from the aspect of how the world has changed, including back from the ancient times up until now, and some of Satish's theories on this very interesting book that he's working on. And I'm happy to be joining him on the project. And it sounds like you might need some of that ancient medicine too, sir. Anyway,
Indeed.
So if you're just joining us on the World Wide Web, please feel free to come on to Amir Shakur Speaks broadcast channel and come on in and ask questions. Feel free to come on in to the chat, and we're here again. That's on YouTube, the Amir Shakur Speaks broadcast channel, and obviously you'll see us on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. So you can chime in. Your voice matters, so don't be afraid to ask the questions. All right. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about. Tell us a little bit about your new project and the theory that you have behind it. I'll give you the floor, sir.
Okay. Well, at the moment, I will have a book on the tariff issue, which is separate from the tariff you may be aware of, What I'm talking about is the minimum sentence or time that a prisoner convicted of murder would have to serve before they're eligible for parole. That book should be published somewhere around September, October time. In the meantime, I'm working on another book and another project, which is The Beastly Sciences Come of Age. So let me slightly correct your interpretation of this project. It's not about ancient medicine. It does involve it, but it's not about that. It is about the link between human anatomy and the study of human anatomy and the development of forensic pathology. The two were interlinked. It wasn't until human anatomy studies had learned what they could about the human body that forensic pathology was able to advance in leaps and bounds and make the progress that it has made. So, but the first part of the book is dealing with the issues of human anatomy and how we understood it. And what happened with it was most of the information was very, very Eurocentric. And one of the things with this is they would talk about the likes of Praxagoras, Herophilus and Erasistratus, and even the person they credited as the father of medicine, Hippocrates. But this was all wrong. These people were all practicing and learned their trade from the knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. And when I say the knowledge of the ancient Egyptians, I'm talking about several centuries before these Greek geniuses. They were, to give them credit, they did a lot of important work, but this work could not have been done if it hadn't been for the progress made by the ancient Egyptians. So let's be clear about this. The real fathers of medicine were the ancient Egyptians, and in particular the vizier, or one of the great officials who multitasked. He was a brilliant architect, he was an administrator, he was a physician, he was a surgeon. This is Imhotep, and he was so good at what he did and so gifted in the medicine that he was later deified. And it's interesting that in ancient Egypt, the deification of Imhotep coincides with when the ancient Greeks make their own god of medicine, Asclepius. And what you will find is you get a lot of information about Hippocrates, you get a lot of information about, or at least more information about the ancient Greek physicians and surgeons, but you do not hear anywhere near as much as you should about Imhotep. And I'm putting that right to some extent. I'm also putting right the lack of appreciation and respect for an Indian physician and surgeon at an Ayurvedic stage by the name of Sushruta. He is exceptionally important because he discovered how malaria and also the various plagues, which includes the biggest and worst pandemic in human history, the Black Death, were transmitted. He discovered that it was transmitted through rats. Now that's not the full.
Well, before we go, Satish, let me chime in before we go too far, because I want to break this down, if you don't mind, and I want to be able to help people just to understand this. So we started off with the Imhotep, which basically he's considered Africa's original physician. Let me just show a little bit.
The world's. Imhotep
Okay.
is basically, he is the real father of medicine. It's not just a case of Africa. He's the father of medicine throughout the world.
Let me show a little bit of a video, maybe about a minute long video, a little bit that explains who Imhotep was. So just give me 1 second, and I'm gonna bring that up, and then we can carry on with the dialogue and the conversation. And that way, we can just make this a little bit more actionable for people to understand. Give me 1 second, and I'll add that to the stage and just bring it up. And it won't be long, but let's go ahead and look at what that's all about.
Welcome to this episode. Imhotep's name translates to the one who comes in peace. And it's fitting for a man who brought wisdom, healing, and knowledge to the people of Egypt. Imhotep lived during Egypt's third dynasty, under Pharaoh Djoser, around 2650 BCE. Although we don't know much about his early life, records suggest he may have come from a modest family in or near Memphis, Egypt's ancient capital. Yet despite his humble beginnings, Imhotep's intellect and skill quickly earned him a prominent place in Djoser's court, where he became an advisor, architect, and chief priest. Imhotep's influence spanned the arts, sciences, and religion, allowing him to shape Egypt's society in ways that had never been done before. One of Imhotep's most significant achievements was designing the step pyramid of Saqqara, built as a tomb for Pharaoh Djoser. Before Imhotep's time, Egyptian tombs were constructed as simple mastabas, flat-roofed, rectangular structures made of mud brick. But Imhotep envisioned something far more ambitious, a monument that would rise toward the heavens and showcase the pharaoh's divine status. He wanted Djoser's tomb to stand as a testament to Egypt's architectural prowess and spiritual values.
So going back to us and where we're at, I just wanted to be able to share a little bit about that. So, the part about the project, which, you're saying that Imhotep was the father of ancient medicine, how relevant is that for folks who don't know what the contrast is and who the contrast is, or maybe one of the ancient Greeks, Hippocrates, or some of the other folks who were mentioned as taking this history? And I don't like when it comes to sciences and technology, because it's not really an area of whole expertise for me, more so on the science and medicine perspective. But I do want to say, I hate to use this, but a lot of history has been whitewashed. Let's talk about the Imhotep part from just your aspect of that.
Well, there's no question Imhotep has not been given the credit that he deserves over the course of history. It's beginning to change now, as you can see. The video that you showed gives him credit for a lot of his achievements. What I noticed was it didn't really talk too much about the medical achievements that he made. It is of great importance that in 1862, in a tomb, they discovered what's now referred to as the Edwin Smith papyrus. It's called that because he was an Egyptologist and he bought the papyrus. This papyrus illustrated the knowledge that the ancient Egyptians had in medicines. It details over 40, I believe it's 48 case studies. And among the things they were able to do was brain surgery. And they were able to perform brain surgery, which had a higher survival rate than we do now. That is absolutely incredible. If you look at a lot of the medical procedures that we rely on today, they're better in their way because you've got much more advanced tools to conduct the various surgeries and procedures with, but the effect is the same. The techniques are very similar to what the ancient Egyptians were doing, and they knew what they were doing. So the fact of the matter is, these people were, you can't even say decades, they were centuries, even millennia ahead of their time. And it's now time that we properly acknowledge them. Imhotep was a genius. There really is no question of it. And
so let me stop you.
Let me finish. While we should be giving credit to the ancient Greeks, we must start with Imhotep.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you a question from the standpoint of someone, and before we even go that far, thank you for the comment. One of my favorite topics is Egyptology. Yes, they practice medicine, and we're thankful that they did. And Egyptians were able to...
is the answer to the question I just see in front of me. They were able to do it.
Right.
And they were able to conduct these brain surgeries with a degree of precision that saw the injuries to the skull heal around the edges, that is. They actually healed very well. Again, like I said, this was incredible. What they actually managed to do is have a higher survival rate for brain surgery than we do now. We're talking about 4,500 years ago, they were able to perform brain surgery. That is absolutely incredible. And
that's amazing.
To be as successful as it was means these people really should be classed as geniuses. There really is no other way you can look at them.
Well, so we talked about different events, Satish. Like your research in your current project is very interesting. And what you're suggesting is that a lot of the ancients could have been even more advanced in modern medicine without all the tools and the resources that technology affords. Is that what you're saying? Is that
not exactly? I mean, if you had their genius and modern tools, they would leave us far behind. But they didn't have the tools that we have. So you would expect to have a higher success rate. You would expect to be able to do things that they were not able to do. But the actual techniques, they are far and away better than we were.
Well, let me ask you this, and I want to show a video. I want to go back to a video in reference to our subject matter, but the Black Plague. So say, for instance, some of the major epidemics that
you mean
the
Black Death?
The Black Death.
You're talking about the pandemic in the 14th century.
Yeah, why are we distinguishing between Black Plague and Black Death?
It's known as the Black Death.
Okay.
The pandemic, if you're talking about the nastiest pandemic, or the plague pandemic that there's ever been, which was around 1346 to 1352, it's known as the Black Death. Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, let's show a video in reference to your theory, and then I want to discuss that as well. Give me 1 second and let's pull it up on the screen. I find it very interesting that we're here and we're at this subject matter, because I'm really on the point of a holistic medicine and alternative medicine. Would any of this be considered alternative medicine, by the way? In today's...
Not really. I would say the medicine that the ancient Egyptians tried does include that. And you would get this all over the world. There are use of natural plant and things like that. So yes, you get both. You get holistic and you get the techniques that lead to our sort of, in inverted commas, advanced forms of medicine. But what you have to look at is the reason I came to all of these conclusions is because I was doing this research about the advances in human anatomy, and it was horrendously Eurocentric.
Right.
Even when they were talking about the role of the ancient Greeks, saying that they practiced in Egypt, they completely ignored everybody else. It only mentioned the Europeans. So I started getting interested in, because I knew that the Egyptians had their sort of benefits, and not benefits, but their knowledge stemmed from Imhotep, and this was not being properly acknowledged. Then it emerges that even the ancient Greeks credited him, but this has somehow been lost to history. We're getting it back now. Now we actually start acknowledging, for example, that Hippocrates was taught by Pythagoras, and Pythagoras spent 22 years learning knowledge in Egypt. It's inconceivable he didn't know about Imhotep.
For me, can I chime in? For me, it seems like, and we're going to get to the video, but before I do that, I want to chime in, and then I want to talk to our viewers. But for me, it almost seems as if Egypt was really the center of the ancient world for a lot of things, even with religion, with science. And so, I mean, it's so amazing that what we're learning about Egypt now and how it was really downplayed for many, many years. The question is, why do you think that is? But don't answer, just let's get to this video. And for folks who are just joining us, we're talking with a global expert. I'll give him the credit and say he's global. He's talked to me long enough and he's been educated long enough, so we're going to give him the point of being global. He is a world-renowned expert and definitely somebody who is a friend of mine. I've known him for probably the better part of, probably going on 20 years now. And his work is globally renowned and published around the world, including the Fitted In Project. He's moving around genres a lot. We see him doing sports, we see him doing forensic pathology, obviously, but now he's getting into this new project, which is a very interesting project, in addition to traveling around the world. So definitely a very interesting person, and we'll talk a little bit more about him. But let's do this. I'll let you answer that question. Let's go ahead and get to this video. And I just wanted to, it's about the black plague, so 1 second.
Sorry, when you do that, can you repeat the question?
Hold on 1 second.
Before we go,
hold on 1 second. Let me
also give credit.
Hold on 1 second, please. Let me stop. Hold on 1 second. Let me stop the video. Okay. All right. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry. We should also give credit to Isocrates, who wrote about Pythagoras and the learning that he had in Egypt, which affected the knowledge of Hippocrates, who then to take that into account. So we can say very, very, very clearly, if it hadn't been for Imhotep and passing on the knowledge of the Egyptians, the ancient Greeks would not have been able to achieve anywhere near the expertise that they have been credited with. But really, the ancient Egyptians have to be given fundamental credit for all of this.
Point well taken. Let me pull this video up, and then I will come back to you so you can share a little bit more about things in theory. Give me 1 second, and thank God you're here, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. I might have.
One other thing, when I said Isocrates, that is not a mistake. This is not Socrates. It's a different person. Look him up and you will see that.
All right, we'll definitely put that information out there for folks who want to research. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to add the video to the stage, and then we'll go ahead and we'll pull it up. All right.
47, an unimaginable nightmare lurked on the horizon.
Sorry about that.
In 1347, an unimaginable nightmare lurked on the horizon. It all started with a brutal siege. The trading port of Kaffa was left trapped, without supplies, and desperate for a miracle. Seemingly out of nowhere, Yani Beg, leader of the Mongols, promised to retreat. His soldiers had mysteriously fallen ill. Many were dying. Before leaving, Yani Beg offered his enemies a sinister parting gift. His army catapulted the corpses of plague-infected soldiers into the city. The Black Death had officially arrived in Europe. From Kaffa, the plague spread like wildfire, ravaging Europe, Asia, and North Africa. At its peak, the disease killed an estimated 25 to 30 million people in Europe alone, around 1/3 of the continent's population. This first massive European outbreak, bleakly nicknamed the Black Death, lasted just a few years, drawing to a close by 1353. But the devastation didn't stop there. Pandemics of the same plague persisted well into the 20th century. The plague takes 3 forms: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. Bubonic plague, the most common and widespread form of the disease, causes painful, swollen lymph nodes called buboes, as well as fever, headaches, aching joints, nausea, and vomiting. Pneumonic plague is an airborne infection that affects the lungs, while septicemic plague infects the bloodstream, triggering symptoms like blackened skin from gangrene. In the 1660s, Europe experienced its worst plague outbreak since the Black Death. The disease wreaked havoc on the densely populated city of London, killing more than 68,000 people in just 1 year. Londoners could only guess at how the illness spread, but most believed that it traveled by air. To combat this, civilians burned dried rosemary, frankincense, and bay leaves, hoping the smoke would purify their surroundings. Others burned old shoes. Some held oranges stuffed with cloves up to the...
Wait a minute. Old shoes? Old shoes? I never knew that. Old shoes was the potential for killing the plague, huh? Okay. Interesting.
Their noses. Realizing that the disease spread more rapidly through close contact, Londoners practiced what we now call social distancing. If weekly death rates rose above 30 people, city officials prohibited mass gatherings and shut down theaters. Quarantine measures were instituted, along with attempts to isolate and treat the sick. Sound familiar? But what really caused the plague? It wasn't until 1894 that scientist Alexander Yersin pinpointed the disease's source, Yersinia pestis, a bacterium carried by infected fleas on rats, which ran rampant on medieval ships and in cities. Although the plague largely disappeared from Europe by the late 18th century, periodic outbreaks still occur around the world. Luckily, cases are rare. And thanks to the wonders of modern science, we now have antibiotics to effectively treat the disease. And less catapults to deal with.
Interesting, right? So
Very interesting that it doesn't mention Sushruta.
So how would he have fit in? Because the Black Plague actually came after his time. So
Long after his time, nearly 2,000 years after his time.
right.
The reason he is of great importance is that he worked out that the plagues were spread through rats. He wasn't aware of the insect use of it. He wasn't aware that insects attacking plague-carrying rats managed to transport or transmit the disease from rats to other species. This is largely how it was transported into humans or transmitted into humans. Then, with the humans infected, they also infect others. And in the same manner, because an infected person being attacked by a blood-carrying insect transmits that infected blood into other people and thereby transmits the disease. That's how it spread. Of course, this wasn't realized. But the fact that Sushruta worked out it was spread through rats gave people the opportunity to use hygiene to control rats and thereby control the plague. So while it says or shows on the map, it shows India as part of the Great Plague, it was never hit in the manner that other countries were. The Black Death caused the deaths of nearly a third of the population of the world. It is the worst pandemic we've ever suffered. But it could have been, if not prevented, so it could have been mitigated. Had Sushruta's work been given the credit it should have had, it is quite possible that a lot of this would have been known. To give an example, Alexander the Great is rightly credited as one of, if not the greatest soldier the world has ever seen, the best conqueror. Part of his army led to various other empires. So you had Macedonian Empire, you had the Egyptian Ptolemaic dynasty, and you had the Seleucids, which were the three major parts of Alexander's empire that sort of contributed. What I'm particularly interested in is the Seleucids. Seleucus Nicator was possibly the least known of Alexander's generals, but he was one of his generals. He became the most effective of them. He had the biggest empire, and his empire was parts of Europe and large parts of Asia. He got to the borders of India, but he loses a battle against Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the Maurya Empire. And the reason this is very, very interesting and important is the timing of it is not far away from Sushruta. So Chandra and the placing of Chandragupta's empire is near enough to suggest that it's likely he would have known about Sushruta, which would then mean he would have known how malaria was transmitted, i.e. through mosquitoes, not necessarily which type of mosquito, but he would have known about mosquitoes, and also they would have known about avoiding rats in order to control or mitigate the spread of plagues. This is important because when Seleucus Nicator lost battle to Chandragupta Maurya, they made peace. And the peace was Chandragupta Maurya married Seleucus Nicator's daughter. So the likelihood is that this information should have spread from India across into Seleucus Nicator's empire and therefore reached Europe. So they should have been able, if not to completely avoid the Black Death, at least mitigate some of its impact.
All right, let me chime in. So let me ask you this question, and then we'll go to another video. And before I ask the question, if you're just joining us for the next 15 more minutes, we for the last 45 minutes, we've been talking to globally renowned expert Satish Sekar. He's referencing his current project. Tell them the name of the project, please.
It's called The Beastly Sciences Come of Age.
The Beastly Science. I'm going to repeat that. The Beastly Sciences Come of Age. And the synopsis is, I'll let you tell it.
The synopsis is that there is a link between the study of human anatomy and the development of forensic pathology. So this is tracing the development of human anatomy and how it affected forensic pathology. The first half of it is dealing with that, so it kind of brings you up to the Murder Act of 1752 and the right to dissect the bodies of murderers in order to one, punish murderers even more effectively and brutally, but also to start learning what the body can tell you, because you cannot develop cures for illnesses without understanding the human body. How do you understand the human body if you don't dissect and anatomize it? This had been going on for the best part of 2 to 3, even 4 centuries. I'm sorry, millennia, not centuries. And this basically meant, where are you going to get access to bodies to dissect? Most people don't want their bodies dissected, and most people don't want their relatives dissected. Religions, most of them, don't permit it. So you needed a supply of human bodies of people who had no rights. And this tended to be convicted criminals, especially murderers.
You should really consider letting me be the co-author of this project, because in the last video segment, I'm going to tell you why, and we're going to go to the video, but I'm going to say this to you. The very interesting thing that I just found out was that this particular Asian warlord, and I can't pull up his name. I'm going to have his name. I'm going to get his name. Maybe you got it. He weaponized the bodies of his dead soldiers, and they said that was one of the causes of the Black Plague, and he catapulted those dead diseased bodies.
Mentioned it in the film.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole theory within itself that we could even research, because the weaponization of using diseases to be weaponized is a whole new thing that, even we're hearing Russia is doing it. We're hearing it, and I think it's a very interesting topic that people want to know about. What do you think?
It certainly is, but it's not exactly what this project is about. It may well be, but it can be a subsidiary project later.
So you're signing on to that project with me? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I haven't signed on to it yet, but I'll give you a chance to convince me.
Okay.
But it's not going to be
All
with
right.
this
Well,
one. This one is kind of set in where it's going. But like I said, a subsidiary.
For being a good sport and entertaining. Let's go ahead and get to the. Let's get to the video. And this video is reference to the pinpoint the origin of monkeypox, which is closely related to COVID. It's a cousin of COVID, not exactly the same, but very much closely related. And then we'll come back to you and we'll get your opinion about this whole thing and how everything intersects with
monkeypox outbreak in Europe. The disease has made its way to the United States, and the World Health Organization says it could be linked to mass events that were in Europe.
WCPO 9 News reporter Whitney Miller is joining us, explains really what we need to know about this virus.
The big thing to consider here about monkeypox is that you have to really close contact to transmit the virus, and there's still a lot of investigation going into where it's actually coming from.
This is the largest outbreak that has ever been seen outside of Africa.
West Africa is where experts say the virus originated, related to the same family of viruses as smallpox.
And every year, there may be 100, 200 cases, mostly in West Africa. We don't usually see it outside of Africa unless somebody has been traveling and then returned.
The World Health Organization reports more than 100 confirmed or suspected cases in 12 countries. Massachusetts, New York, and Florida are all investigating cases. An advisor to the organization says the outbreak may be linked to sex at 2 recent rave events in Spain and Belgium. UC infectious disease specialist Dr. Carl Fichtenbaum says while it's unusual to see cases in the U.S., monkeypox does not spread as easily as coronavirus.
Kind of like the flu. So coughing, sneezing, but close contact. You have to be really, it's not like you're just in the same room like with somebody with COVID and you get it. this has to be a little closer contact.
Monkeypox can cause fever, chills, rash, and lesions on the body. But Fichtenbaum says, unlike COVID at the start of the pandemic in 2020, there is already a known treatment for monkeypox.
Turns out the smallpox vaccination that many older Americans got protects you from monkeypox, and there are medications that we can use.
He says health authorities just wanted to make sure the public knew of the outbreak in case it's encountered.
I don't think people need to quickly rush and say, oh my gosh, now I need to be in my house again and we're never going to be able to go out. It's not that time yet.
At UC Medical Center, Whitney Miller, WCPO 9 News.
So where does your project intersect with some of the current information and the things that we know about COVID and monkeypox and the new age epidemics that we're seeing?
It's basically, it is about the development of forensic pathology. So it kind of stops where forensic pathology has achieved what it can achieve. Mm-hmm. Essentially, where we get to is, like I said, the first half of the book is talking about the development of human anatomy studies and its effect on forensic pathology, and the link between dissection and anatomization. It then results in forensic pathology was seen as one of the beastly sciences. Then it had its first great star. That's not to say he was the only one. There were others before him, but the main one was Professor Sir Bernard Spilsbury. He developed the knack of being able to explain the his findings in a manner that jurors found interesting and that they were able to understand. So he was able to persuade jurors of the truth of what he was trying to tell them. That was noticed by prosecutors, so they would go and get Spilsbury. It then led to what's called the preeminence of forensic pathology, and it gave forensic pathology a status above and beyond what it should have had. So it's gone from the beastly science that nobody likes and wants to listen to the most preeminent of forensic sciences. And it's actually gone too far, because the police basically give these experts a status that they do not deserve. You can accept Bernard Spilsbury and his contemporaries, at least some of them, are of a standard that they deserve a degree of preeminence, even the next generation. But then it gets to the third generation of forensic pathologists who are basically taking charge of the use of other forensic sciences in investigations. They should never have been given that control. And that's where the huge mistake was made. So you have to drag forensic pathology back to where it needed to be. That it was one of the most important of forensic sciences, but it doesn't have the right to dictate to other forensic sciences and other forensic scientists. You basically want an integrated approach of investigations and forensic sciences, so that between them you get to what is most likely to be the truth. That's what this book is about, and that's where it stops. But what I will say is, there is one that you might well be interested in. Have you ever heard of the Peloponnesian War?
Yes, I have. I'm sorry.
Right. So you know that's basically the war for control of ancient Greek city-states between Athens and Sparta and its allies. Did you know that there was a huge pandemic which basically massacred Athens' chances?
It took out all of their soldiers, the warriors.
Not all of them, but it took out a lot of
a huge majority of them.
soldiers. what is very interesting about this is historically people have said this was a plague. It actually wasn't. The symptoms are not consistent with the plague. It's some form of typhus. And this is actually quite interesting because you look at it and say, you know, with what you were talking about the use of germs and diseases in times of war. That's what happened here. That pandemic or epidemic, whatever you want to call it, absolutely demolished Athens and its chances of winning the Peloponnesian War. It was in the early stages of the Peloponnesian War, but it took out their most gifted general, Pericles, and it took out between 75 and 100,000 citizens of Athens and its allies. That's a huge amount to lose when you're fighting a war, an existential war. But the end result was that particular epidemic played a huge role in the outcome of the Peloponnesian War. And interestingly, it didn't spread to Sparta.
So in 2 minutes, can you sum up the new project and why, in reference to just summing up everything that we've discussed in a 2-minute, please, summary?
I don't know that I can. I would actually rather give people a chance to ask questions if there are any that they want to ask.
There's been comments in the chat, and you can see that. Let's just pull up some of the comments. And so that jumps back to criminology, and I think that what she was, what Ms. McBride was referencing was, I believe, the uses of the bodies in germ warfare. Monkeypox is a bad illness, and yes, it is. It's been typhus can spread via dirty water. You know, there was one theory, and then I'm gonna turn it back to you to close out, and then I'll close out after you. There was one theory that Alexander the Great died of typhus, but there's other theories that says he was poisoned by his generals. So there's two different theories about that. Now, I am an Alexander researcher, and I've written and researched and written many papers about this in college and backwards, probably about to the tune of maybe about 5. But I mean, what was your theory about that? I'm just curious.
To be honest with you, I don't have a theory on it because it's impossible to prove without a body.
Exactly.
Or you know, some kind of confession, and even then you don't necessarily take it seriously because people can confess for any number of reasons, especially brutality.
One more thing that I think y'all should be taking seriously from the UK.
But before we go on from that, the Egypt visit and tour that we've got planned,
we're going to talk about
really must go to Siwa. SIWA. I'm going to leave you to look up why.
But you explain
don't know by the next time we speak, I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell everybody why.
Well, can you explain to the people in like 1 minute what our Egypt expedition is going to be and what it's all about?
Again, it's a very big thing. That there is a lot of aspects of it. I obviously am particularly interested in the medical side of things, but I may have to do some of that earlier. But we want to do a study of partly the importance of Egypt and its history over and it's a massive project because you're talking about roughly 5,000 years of history, even more than that. So
in my emphasis, not to interrupt you, is the 26th dynasty. Just drop the mic there, but anyway, go right ahead.
Right. I mean, one of the things about it is I have discussions with Amir and others over the Ptolemy dynasty. It absolutely annoys me that people keep trying
See, you froze. You froze for a reason. Good freeze point, y'all. He froze. He gets annoyed because the question of the hour is the Cleopatras and the Ptolemies. Was Cleopatra black, and there's or black African, and there's a huge debate about that. And so where Satish is annoyed and others is that they're saying it's close, that she was closer to Macedonian. Listen, we are fine with whichever way it was with Cleopatra because she's only a small footnote in history. So we're going to visit Nubia. We're going to visit some of the areas, and we're going to discuss a lot more about the particular project. I'm going to bring Satish's picture back to the stage and close out to show y'all. Listen, let's do this. Let's just say for reference, let's just say for reference, our Egyptian project is going to start in the end of the fall, and we'll keep you guys abreast about that. I will say that, his line of work is very interesting. And again, he's a globally renowned specialist. So we'll keep you in the loop as far as where we go from here. We also have a project on an international scale called the Freedom and Justice Journal, to whereas we write about international pieces from around the world. The last project that we had was in Ghana, and we're going back into that. And so we'll keep you in abreast of that. Satish can be reached at the Fitted In Project. If you Google him online, his name is Satish, and the last name is spelled Sekear. I'm gonna put that up, and it's the Fitted In Project, and I will attach the information for Satish if you're interested in talking to him. So that's the final inclusion of today's case, from microscopic details to the microscopic truth, or the macro truth, whichever way you want to look at it. We peel back the layers of medicine and law, and remember, the body never lies, right, y'all? It just waits for someone to listen. So until, hold on one second, there he is.
Went and I had to.
Yeah, well, I had your picture up in reference to keep you alive, to keep hope alive. But what I was saying was, can you? I'm going to give you 1 minute to just do your brief closeout, and then tell people where they can find you at and get more information about this wonderful project that you're endeavoring in.
Okay, this project is, like I said, largely it is about the link between human anatomy and forensic pathology. And in the first part of it, it has entered into new ground in terms of acknowledging the role of various experts throughout the world in ancient times and giving them the credit that they should have. The whole thing will end with basically talking about forensic pathology, how it got to where it is, it reached, how it went too far, and how it got dragged back to where it should be. That essentially is what this project is about. Then I'll have another one to deal with issues of forensic pathology and the errors that have been made during it. And then we'll be talking about various other things that grab my interest at various points in time, including Amir's project of how illnesses have been weaponized. We've had at least two major examples of that, which is the Black Death and also the Peloponnesian War before that. It's not something that they hesitate to use. If they get half a chance, they will do it.
We really know, all jokes aside, we really should do that project, because they're even saying, the conspiracy theorists are saying that COVID was a weaponization. There's no proof of that, but I mean, that is a theory, right?
I'm not looking at conspiracy theories. I want proper evidence. If we find the evidence, well and good. But if not, no.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. I look forward to seeing you in the late fall for that project down in Nubia. so we can justify the Ptolemies. We won't get into that right now.
Right. Is there any other questions that people want to?
No one. There will be further questions down the line, and there hasn't been any, but there will be more questions down the line. And for folks who want to ask you questions directly, can you give them your information, how they get a hold of you, please?
They can go through you, and you forward it to my email address, because I don't want to say my contact details out live, if you get what I mean. I don't have a problem with people having it, but there are some people I don't want to have my contact details.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me at amirshakurspeaks@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Google me on the World Wide Web. I'm Googleable. And if you need more information about Satish, you can actually Google his name, and his information is he's Googleable. So, and I will say one thing though, with all of this criminal forensic knowledge and wealth of criminal and pathology and all of this stuff that you have, you disappointed me, sir, because y'all still haven't found out who Jack the Ripper was. Wow.
There are lots of people looking into that. There are several different hypotheses, and it's not one that is going to make a great deal of difference now. Okay, we'll know who it was. What will that actually achieve?
I mean, hey, the statute of limitations for murder is
Jack the Ripper is long dead. There's no doubt about it.
But I'm saying it would be one of the biggest cases in history, and to get that resolved is huge. So Scotland Yard, if you're listening, do your job and don't listen to Satish. I want you guys to close that case out, even if he doesn't.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying I don't know what it will do.
Well, it would close out one of the biggest.
Part of the problem is you will have people who have their pet theories as to who Jack the Ripper is.
It was the Prince who did it. The Prince did it, okay.
Good grief, you don't believe that nonsense, do you? Seriously, you don't believe that, do you?
I do.
Oh, dear.
We'll have to have a show about that, because he would have had the most access. He would have been cushioned.
That is the most absolutely ridiculous nonsense I've heard in a long time.
The Prince did it. I'm trying to tell you.
He did not. That's almost as bad as saying Sir William Gold did it.
They said he made a deathbed confession. Now what?
He did not. Where do you get that nonsense from?
In any case, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I will have your information out I will have Satish's information out for anyone who wants to reach him. And this project, all jokes aside, is definitely worthy of a lot of attention, especially even our Egyptian counterpart of it. And that goes into other areas, to whereas we're talking about the dynasties and the lineage, where they came from, and, the fact that Cleopatra's black, but we'll leave that alone as well. I'm sorry.
Leave that alone. That's just utter nonsense.
I am just I'm kidding, but I do believe that she was Peloponnesian or closer to Mesopotamian. I don't know, wherever, Macedonian, who knows?
Macedonian is what you mean.
Macedonian, okay. So anyway, that's the final inclusion for today's.
One last thing on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you noticed that the names of the Ptolemaic dynasty never occur in ancient Egypt? The only time you get people with those names is during the Macedonian Ptolemaic dynasty. Doesn't that tell you they were Greeks?
No, it doesn't. But I will take your synopsis, because even if that were the case, there's still enough influence above them. Cleopatra II, married a black African, and they ruled in that. there's so much linkage and so
Their
much.
offspring would have been mixed race. Then it would have been diluted back even further as they married within the Ptolemaic dynasty, which means that the pigmentation would almost certainly have been lighter.
Well, we know that for a fact.
There is no way that would explain a Cleopatra VII who shares your pigmentation. It is utter nonsense. And
I'm back next week, and let's have a debate about this, about this whole thing, because you really want to get this out, and it burns you to no avail every time I mention it. So we're good. Let's have a conversation.
That's not so much you, but there are some complete idiots who go on about it, and it really.
I mean, for me, it's not even a notion, because I mean, you have enough Nubian linkage to Egypt. You know, you have Nefertiti. You have so much.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you don't really have to make things up, because there's enough there already to deal with.
That is exactly my point. There are more than enough Black Egyptian rulers to highlight without having to invent and steal Macedonian Greeks as blacks. They weren't. Let it go.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's whitewashing all the way around. It's another form of whitewashing, because we see it throughout history. So, you know, and it's a shame that people resort to that. But, you know, I definitely am a truth seeker. So I understand what you're saying.
When we go to Egypt,
we'll stay in Alexandria, by the way.
Sorry?
We're staying in Alexandria, by the way. I can't stay in anywhere that's going to be secondary, third party. You know,
you're going to have to, because there are places that we need to go, which are miles and miles away from Alexandria, and we need to go to these places. Basically, it's going to be like 4 or 5 day visits. For example, Luxor, Karnak, and places like that is not in commutable distance of Alexandria.
Yeah.
So
well, I definitely will bring
around Alexandria, but we then have to go and base in other places as well.
Well, we definitely will need to bring the film equipment. We definitely will need to.
Absolutely, and you also need to contact Egyptian authorities to get access to the.
I know we have to get permission and get a permit. I get it. I know it's always a hustle somewhere. It's a hustle. Anyway,
but I think we should start in the new museum in Cairo, because you're going to find out quite a lot about ancient Egypt by going there.
I mean, I'm more excited about Luxor, because to me, you can correct me, I won't hold you, but that seems to me to be the most preserved out of all of even the pyramids. Luxor is very well preserved. Why is that?
Why is it well preserved?
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. I mean, the part of the problem with all of them is they were subject to horrendous grave robbing. A lot of
Luxor was the Valley of the Kings.
Oh,
I mean, as far as the
absolutely.
I mean, as far as if you look at the pictures, you were there, right?
Yeah.
So if you actually look at it, it seems they seem to be very well preserved than the pyramids. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You can't take the art of the pyramids away. You can take the jewelry and things like that, and that is what happened. There was a lot of theft. Unfortunately, history has been robbed of a large part of the whole thing. It is greatly unfortunate, but there's, I would say, well over 50, much more than that. You'd be talking about 80% of the artifacts have been robbed.
There's your last question.
You might be lucky and get some things back, because it surfaces in sort of illegal sort of markets and stuff like that. Very unlikely.
Well, there's legal grave robbing and illegal grave robbing both, because there's quite a few countries who have taken those artifacts and won't return them. So all of that is just an ongoing conversation.
Absolutely.
But even the Vatican has artifacts which should not belong to them, but they have them. So
to give you a good example of this, even the decryption of the ancient Egyptian language, the Rosetta Stone.
Right. That's in Paris, right?
It's in the British Library.
Oh, that's in the British
No
Library.
plan of returning it to, even though there is a magnificent museum.
Who gave it to him? Was it Howard Carter?
No. It was Howard Carter. It was a century before Howard Carter. Well over.
Okay.
The Rosetta Stone was discovered by a French soldier in 1799 during Napoleon's invasion of Egypt. Then it fell into the hands of the British during the conflict between the French and English in Egypt.
Yeah.
It was then taken to the British Library,
right.
And a Frenchman was extremely lucky that his name was Jean-Francois Champollion. He was able eventually to decipher the Rosetta Stone, but he actually received assistance from an Egyptology expert, a British Egyptology expert, who basically helped him. And then Champollion didn't even have the common courtesy to credit him.
Well, I tell you what, let's end it on that note. And guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I will have Satish's contact information for you. And out of respect for who he is, I know we've joked a lot, but he's definitely this new project is definitely very exciting. And look for the fall to where we will be down. We'll be spending a lot of time in Nubia and talking about the 26th dynasty and some of the other things. So look out for that. And this has been the final inclusion of today's case. From microscopic details to the macroscopic truth, right? We peel back the layers of medicine and law. And remember this, the body never lies. It just waits for somebody to listen. So until next, here's one for you. I'm sorry. You don't have to answer this, but this is your last. Researchers were close to figuring out who Jack the Ripper was. Well, you know what? Let's put Satish on that project, okay? And make sure he does. Anyway. Until next autopsy, y'all, keep your eyes sharp and your gloves on. This has been the Amir Shakur Speaks Show, where the dead teach the living. We're signing off from the morgue. Peace.